I see you sitting there just smiling away. But it's not recording.
The camera's on me, so
We are now recording. You're listening to Senior Moment with Nurse Linda on SGRN Network, soon on WOIC Radio,
yes.
and that's Nurse Linda. We're talking about winter myths, and we're talking about health myths.
Health myths, things that you grew up being told by your parents, your grandparents, your neighbors, that we're going to debunk and just make your brain explode. So we're going to have some fun. The first one is that if you go outside with a wet head in the cold weather, you're going to catch a cold.
Let me disprove that one.
Go right ahead.
I was 16 years old, junior in high school, went to 5 high schools, but one of them was in Jamestown, North Dakota, in the winter, just before Christmas. And I had to walk. Now, when I was young, we had what's called a DA haircut,
Mm-hmm.
stands for duck's ass, but it came in the back. And used Vaseline because it didn't have all the hair care products you have now. Well, in Connecticut, my hair kept falling down. Well, took my shower, combed my hair, put on my cashmere coat with a fox collar, and walked about 10 blocks to school. My hair froze. That's what it sounded like, tapping my hair. A, I did not get sick. B, that was like a perm. My hair never fell down ever again as long as I did that. So I believe they did a test in England where they actually put people in a bed in the middle of a field with getting wet and cold and so on. Nobody got a cold.
Mm-hmm.
So we consider that a myth.
That is a myth. And if you think about what they do in Scandinavia, they'll go out into their cold water. They'll sit in their hot tub first. Then they'll go out into the cold and just have their bathing suits or their birthday suits on, whichever. They get all chilled up. They go back into the hot tub. They go back out into the cold again, play in the snow, go back into the hot tub. It actually helps to build the immune system. You're stressing it out a little bit. Colds are formed, you get colds from viruses and bacteria that do not thrive in the cold weather.
Well,
You get colds and bacteria and viruses and things like that from being indoors too much in the wintertime because you're with everybody else in close
like
quarters.
kids in school, disease of the day.
You need to get outside in the cold weather. Build your white blood cell count. That's what actually being in the cold and the warm and the cold does. It builds your white blood cells. It helps to fight these things off.
Well, see, I just learned something I didn't know.
Yes,
But I know
yes.
sitting in a snowbank shrinks parts of your body.
Well,
It makes you very, very cold.
Another one we found was that everyone feels depression is increased during the winter months.
And that's doing light.
It's a myth. The information I just read says it's a myth that statistically speaking, incidences of depression do not increase during winter months. Now, there are people who suffer from something called seasonal affective disorder. And that is just a very functional kind of thing, and that does have to do with light.
Well, I get a little depressed in the wintertime because my favorite TV shows end until January, February.
Doesn't count.
Doesn't count.
But they consider this the holiday blues. People around Christmas time become very nostalgic. They're pining for the old days or missed family members, so they get a little sad. Then you add the decreased light to that, and I'm a person that has seasonal affective disorder, so I have to make that extra effort to get outside every day, to put sunlight in my eyes. They also have devices that people can use that you put a certain type of light. Can't be just any light, it has to be a certain type of light, and put that on your desk at work. They have cute little boxes that you can use, and they say 20 minutes a day is really all you need.
Yeah, north white light.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very white light.
It's like sunlight.
Yes. Yes, without the UV rays. That's the nice part about it.
That's
You
right.
don't get the damaging UV rays,
That's
which
why
we're
I
going to
never
talk
get-
about later.
Never get a suntan.
But it's very important. And
Does that look pale to you folks? That's the way I am all summer long.
And all of these things, the seasonal affective disorder and the holiday blues, all are similar to depression with the insomnia, the irritability, the difficulty concentrating, the loss of energy. but it is not clinical depression and does not need to be treated with antidepressants. But when you feel these things, you need to go to your doctor and be evaluated. Don't self-diagnose. Don't do that. That's a bad thing to do.
No, it's like be your own attorney.
And I'm not
yeah.
diagnosing you. Go to your doctor. Okay. The other big one, which I grew up being told was true, and then everybody said it wasn't true, was chicken soup when you're sick.
Yeah, that's an old myth that happens to be true.
Well, but it is very true, yes. They've actually shown in science that chicken soup brings your white blood cells together, sipping on the broth. But it has to be from a chicken. You can't have something chicken flavored. It's got to be from the chicken.
Even my
And
can of Campbell's chicken noodle soup doesn't work.
It's okay.
'Cause
It's not as good as fresh, but it is okay because that's made from real chicken. What we're talking about is some broths and things that are made from chemicals. and have the
ramen
chicken flavor.
broth. Yeah.
Okay, but you need the real chicken because there's actually something in chicken. It's in the genetic part of the chicken that actually has this little thing on it that actually helps our immune system. And that would build the white blood cells. And I've read 2 different articles on this.
Well, it's good to know.
Yes. Yeah, so chicken soup, when you're not feeling well, absolutely.
My grandmother's chicken soup was thick enough to hold a spoon up.
That's the right kind of chicken soup. You're getting all of those good
She had
things.
real
in there.
chicken run around the yard. I stayed with her one summer. It's a wonder anybody survived because breakfast consisted of biscuits, tomatoes, ham, you name it, pancakes. They lived on a farm.
Yeah, and in February, we're going to talk about why all of that was good for you back then, but not now. And we're going to talk about why that's changed during Heart Month. I want to save that for Heart Month.
There was not a
We're gonna
fat
talk
my
about
mother
that.
didn't like, and none of us were.
No, absolutely. No, there's a proper way to use it and a proper way to behave with it. Another myth that you need during winter time, you have to put a hat on because if not, you'll lose all your body heat.
You do in survival training, you do lose a percentage of heat through your head.
You lose a percentage of heat through any uncovered body part.
Yeah.
It just happens to be your head is at the top, so everybody's picked on the head. People will say, well, as long as I put a hat on, I don't need a coat because I won't lose body heat and it comes out through your head. See, that people have twisted it, and that's not the case because if you have a choice between wearing a hat or a coat outside when it's cold, you're going to put the coat on, not the hat.
That's interesting.
Yes, so if you have to go outside, take the dog for a quick walk, go get the mail, you don't have to put that hat on. You're okay for a short period of time. You will get cold like you will with anything else. Your hands will get cold, your head will get cold, but you're really okay because the rest of your body is covered up.
Well, in a
So.
cool day, I notice the difference when I trim my beard up, shave the sides off.
Mm-hmm.
I can feel the cold on my skin. And I do wear a hat when it rains.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely.
And it never really gets cold enough around here to wear much of anything.
Not if you're from the north.
Yeah, well,
There's a difference.
yeah, but I haven't been north for 40 years, so it makes a difference.
The other thing is during the winter time, you don't need sunscreen. That is absolutely false.
I was going to say, yeah.
Absolutely, especially if you're going to be outside on a bright winter day, because now you do not have the leaves from the trees to provide any shade for you, any covering. If there's snow on the ground, you're also getting that reflected light. You are more likely to burn in the winter time than in the summertime if you're not careful.
Oh. Any closing word for this segment?
Yeah, just be careful, be smart. Any myth that you've heard out there, just check it out. And sometimes they're true, sometimes they're not. But
Check it out online.
check it out online. But you can give us a call and we'll help you find the right answer.
803-941-7231. That number again, 803-941-7231. That's Brook Healthcare Nurse Linda.
Absolutely.
Indeed. Our next segment is...
It's all about the flu. We want to keep people safe. So we're going to talk about the flu.
Yes, a lot of that stuff.
Yes.
We'll be right back with stuff on flu.